The news dropped like an anchor in the middle of spring training, sending ripples not just through the Houston Astros organization, but throughout the entire landscape of international baseball.
Jose Altuve, the venerable second baseman, the cornerstone of the Astros dynasty, has formally decided to withdraw his participation from the upcoming World Baseball Classic.
This decision, while perhaps predictable given his recent history, is a colossal blow to Team Venezuela, which had pinned much of its hopes on the presence of its most decorated active star.
Altuve, a figure synonymous with explosive talent packed into a smaller frame, was slated to be a centerpiece for the Venezuelan national team.
However, at 35 years old, and after a season riddled with physical setbacks, the calculus shifted.
This was not solely Altuve's personal choice, but rather a request, or perhaps a firm directive, stemming directly from the Houston Astros front office. When a franchise of that magnitude makes such a request regarding a core player, particularly one carrying his salary and MVP pedigree, the player has little recourse.
They must prioritize the club that employs them and pays their 9-figure contract.
The backdrop to this withdrawal is crucial. It's not simply general caution. It's a specific, recent history of pain and disruption. Altuve spent the latter half of the most recent MLB season battling persistent pain in his right foot. This was not something managed solely by rest. It required surgical intervention during the off-season.
Last November, he underwent a procedure to remove accumulated fluid situated between the 4th and 5th toes of his right foot. While described as minor, any surgical intervention on a player's primary base running and pivot foot introduces an element of risk and necessitates a careful, structured recovery period. The Astros simply could not stomach the idea of rushing that process by exposing him to the high-intensity, win-at-all-costs environment of the WBC.
But the physical recovery is only half the story. The psychological and historical trauma of the previous WBC tournament casts the longest shadow over this decision.
The 2020 World Baseball Classic provided one of the most sobering reminders of the risks involved in this mid-March competition. During the quarterfinal matchup against the United States, Altuve was struck by a pitch.
It was a seemingly innocuous moment that quickly turned into catastrophe, a fractured right thumb.
That injury was devastating, requiring immediate surgery. It forced Altuve to the sidelines, delaying his start to the Major League season by approximately a month and a half.
Shada, losing their leadoff hitter and defensive linchpin for the critical early stages of the schedule, was a competitive disadvantage they struggled to overcome instantly. For Altuve, it meant months of painful rehabilitation and the mental grind of watching his team compete without him. That memory, the sight of him grimacing in the dugout, the timeline for recovery stretching into late May, is undoubtedly the single greatest factor influencing the Astros' mandate for non-participation this time around. They simply cannot afford a repeat performance, especially now that Altuve is 2 years older and dealing with accumulated wear and tear. The immediate reaction from baseball fans, particularly those in Venezuela, was one of profound disappointment mixed with a pragmatic understanding of the professional reality. For Team Venezuela, Altuve is more than just a talented hitter. He is a veteran presence, a respected leader, and an icon whose participation galvanizes the entire roster and fan base. His absence leaves a gaping hole both offensively and in terms of clubhouse morale. This marks the second consecutive WBC tournament where Altuve, who surely harbors a deep desire to represent his country on the global stage, has been forced out of the lineup due to circumstances beyond his full control. From the club perspective, the decision is cold, hard business. The Astros have an AL pennant to defend and a demanding 162-game schedule ahead. Protecting their investment. A player who, even at 35, continues to rake at an elite level, proven by his incredible production even after returning from the thumb injury in 2023, is paramount. When you consider that Altuve's commitment to his club means he is consistently performing at an MVP caliber level, demonstrating power, speed, and defense that belies his age, the risk of sacrificing any part of his MLB season for an exhibition tournament becomes unjustifiable. We must acknowledge the tremendous mental fortitude it takes for a player to recover from successive setbacks.
Dealing with the foot issue late in the year, undergoing surgery in the off-season, and then facing the pressure of an immediate, high-stakes tournament is a heavy burden. Safety first must be the mantra.
Shedar. Fans, though saddened, recognize that forcing Altuve onto the field could lead to re-aggravation of the foot injury or, worse, another major acute injury like the one he suffered on his hand. The chain of injuries has been unforgiving lately, and everyone involved recognizes the imperative to break that cycle.
While the World Baseball Classic will certainly miss the sparkle and elite performance that Altuve brings, the focus must now shift to the long view.
Altuve's primary goal, and the Astros' explicit demand, is a healthy, productive run through the grueling LLB season.
His full focus must now be on meticulously managing his body, building up strength, and ensuring that when the regular season begins, he is operating at 100%. The unfortunate withdrawal from the WBC is a disappointing footnote for Team Venezuela, but for the Houston Astros, it is a necessary insurance policy designed to protect their most vital asset and ensure their championship aspirations remain intact.
This is the stark, often harsh reality of professional sports. Club commitment and the pursuit of the World Series ring must ultimately supersede the call of international duty when health risks loom large.